Hey everyone, welcome back. So you're thinking about buying your first home here in New England. That's exciting, but maybe a little overwhelming too, right?
Well, it's a big decision for sure, but it can also be incredibly rewarding.
Definitely. And we know you've already done some homework. You've sent us some great resources about mortgages and down payment assistance programs.
Yeah, those are crucial first steps. But we also know that sifting through all that info can be a bit of a maze.
Exactly. That's where we come in. We're diving deep into those resources and pulling out the most important stuff so you don't have to.
Think of this as your cheat sheet to navigating the New England housing market.
Love it. We'll break down those mysterious 4 C's of lending, debunk that pesky myth about needing a 20% down payment.
And give you some insider tips on the quirks of buying a home in this beautiful, but sometimes unpredictable region.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, let's start with those mysterious 4 C's. It sounds a bit like a secret society.
Haha, it does have a certain ring to it, but in reality, these 4 C's are simply the framework lenders use to assess your financial fitness for a mortgage.
So like a financial fitness test.
Exactly. It's how they determine if you're ready to take on the responsibility of a home loan.
Okay, so walk me through these C's. What's the first one?
The first C is capacity, and this basically boils down to your ability to repay the loan.
Makes sense. So they're looking at my income, right?
Yep. Your income's a big part of it, but they also consider your employment history and something called your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI.
DTI. Okay, remind me what that is again.
It's basically the percentage of your gross monthly income that goes towards paying off debts like credit cards, student loans, car payments, and so on.
Right, right. So the lower my DTI, the better.
Exactly. Lenders want to see that you have enough wiggle room in your budget to comfortably afford your mortgage payments, even if interest rates fluctuate.
Got it. So get those pay stubs and tax returns organized early on.
Exactly. Having those documents ready to go can streamline the whole process.
Great advice. Okay, what's the next C?
The next one is capital, which refers to the money you have available for a down payment and closing costs.
This is where that infamous 20% down payment comes in.
You got it. But here's the thing, that 20% is often more of a guideline than a hard and fast rule, especially for first-time buyers.
Wait, really? You mean I might not need to save up a small fortune before even thinking about buying a house?
Exactly. There are actually a lot of programs out there specifically designed to help first-time buyers like you with down payments.
Okay, you've definitely got my attention. We'll have to dive into those programs later. But first, let's move on to the next C. What is it?
The next C is collateral, which is basically the property itself.
Oh, okay, so the house itself is part of the equation.
Precisely. Lenders want to make sure that the house is worth the amount they're lending. That's where the appraisal process comes in.
Makes sense. So they're making sure I'm not overpaying for the house.
Right, and they're also looking at the condition of the property to make sure it's a sound investment.
This is all starting to make a lot more sense now. Okay, so we've covered capacity, capital, and collateral. What's the final C?
The final C is credit, and this one's all about your financial track record.
So my credit score.
Exactly. Lenders use your credit score to assess how responsibly you handle borrowed money.
So the higher the score, the better.
Generally, yes. A higher credit score often means you'll qualify for lower interest rates, which can save you a lot of money over the life of the loan.
Got it. So even if your credit score isn't perfect, it's worth taking steps to improve it.
Absolutely. Even a small bump in your score can make a big difference.
Great advice.
All right.
Okay, so we've demystified those 4 C's, but I'm dying to hear more about those down payment assistance programs you mentioned.
Oh, yeah. Let's definitely talk about those next. They can be a real game changer for first-time buyers.
I bet. I'm ready to hear all about it.
All right, let's dive in. So down payment assistance programs. Have you heard much about these before?
I've heard the term, but honestly, I'm not really sure how they work.
Well, they're designed to help make homeownership more accessible, especially for first-time buyers. And guess what? They're available right here in New England.
Really? Okay, so what kind of programs are we talking about?
Well, it depends on which state you're looking to buy in. Each state has its own set of programs. But let's start with Massachusetts.
Okay, yeah, I know a lot of our listeners are interested in the Boston area.
Well, if you're looking in Massachusetts, Mass Housing is a fantastic resource. They offer down payment assistance up to $30,000 for eligible buyers.
Whoa, $30,000. That's a serious chunk of change.
It is. Especially in high-cost areas like Boston, that kind of assistance can really make a difference.
Yeah, no kidding. So what about our listeners in New Hampshire? Any good programs up there?
Absolutely. New Hampshire Housing has a program called Home Flex Plus, which provides assistance for both down payments and closing costs.
Oh, wow. So it's kind of a two-for-one deal.
Exactly. And it's designed to be pretty flexible, so it can work for a variety of buyers across the state.
Very cool. Okay, what about our listeners up in Maine? Anything for them?
Maine Housing has a great program called the First Home Loan Program. Not only does it offer competitive interest rates, but it also